3, 2, 1, we're on. Hello everyone, interview number 6 of the Marine Talks. Today I'm sitting next to Dr. Robert Makgill. Robert is an environmental lawyer. We're currently in Piha, which is a beach break here in the outskirts of Auckland. And we're going to make Robert a few questions regarding his job and his activities and a bit of his background. So, Robert, thank you very much for dedicating your time.
Well, thank you for coming around and interviewing me, Kai.
Yes, that's a pleasure. So, the first question, why did you become an environmental lawyer?
I guess I became an environmental lawyer because I wanted to pursue something in the degree I trained in that I felt passionate about. And I've always been an outdoor person. I enjoy spending time in the environment, and it just seemed like a neat synergy to me. I could work in an area that I felt passionate about.
Okay. If I'm not mistaken, Robert, you studied law here in New Zealand. After some experience in the sector, you eventually got your PhD in University of Ghent in Belgium. Can you tell me a bit about how that process went into really getting into the academy and going for a PhD?
I worked in the corporate legal sector initially, and I got some good experience there, but I was probably a bit of a round peg in a square hole in the corporate environment. And academia allowed me to pursue my various interests in the area of environmental law. The corporate law environment gave me good training, it gave me good basis in the practice of law, but the academia allowed me to expand my mind and to pursue areas of law that I was interested in.
Okay. What does actually an environmental lawyer do?
Environmental law regulates the interface between human activity and the environment.
Okay.
And the environment can be composed of the natural environment. It can be, which includes natural resources, the ocean, air, climate, soil, or it can be such things as urban planning, offshore oil, offshore mining. There's just a vast array of human activities that are presently regulated in the sense that we would call it environmental law.
Okay. Law of sea is a topic that it's part of also marine science, I would say. So it also bends within marine science, as you told, extraction of natural resources, fisheries, etc., etc. Could you explain us what the law of sea in a pretty briefly way actually mean?
Well, the law of the sea really had its genesis in the 17th century, where states were competing for access to the high seas, because control over the high seas gave control over trading routes. The law of the sea eventually reconciled this by recognising that states' sovereignty over the ocean only extended a very limited extent from their coastline. It was the cannon shot rule, and we say that this was about 3 nautical miles. It was eventually increased, but the rest of the sea was said to be held in common ownership.
Okay.
And the idea of the commons, which is a well-known environmental principle, is that the resource belongs to everybody, and no person, or in this case state, shall utilise that resource in a way that is to the detriment of other states' ability to use the resource.
Do you consider that the world needs more environmental lawyers at the moment in 2020?
I'm not sure whether the world needs more lawyers, full stop.
There you go.
I think the world does need more scientists, and we need to pay attention to what scientists are saying. I think one of the good things about environmental law is that it's really an area where you get an interface between how states and international society regulates their behaviour and what science tells us we should be doing. It's not always perfect, but we need to be paying a lot more attention to science and a lot less attention to policy that is predicated simply on economic growth.
The last question would be, what would be the best part of your work?
The thing I really enjoy about environmental law is the ideas. Most people think of law as a lot of rules and a lot of regulations and having to memorise a lot of rules and regulations. At the end of the day, law is really about principle. And the thing I really like about environmental law is the principles involved. Sustainable management, assessment of environmental effects, precautionary approach. These are just some of the principles that we apply in environmental law on a day-to-day basis. And I like working with those principles in a multidisciplinary context. So that when we get given a problem, it's the range of people, the marine scientists, the oceanographers, the biologists, the people who just have everyday experience on the ocean, such as the fishing sector. Getting all of the information and boiling it down to key informational points and getting an understanding about what's happening in the marine environment. I really enjoy that because we know so little about the marine environment.
Yes.
There's a saying that we've been to the moon more times than we've been to the deepest part of the ocean. And our knowledge of the ocean is very poor.
Yes, be awesome. So Robert, thank you very much for your time for this interview.
It's been a pleasure.
I hope to see you again in the water before we leave.
Thank you, Kai, and I hope to see you out in the waves again. And
yes.
I think what you're doing is really
appreciate that.
Really good. It's
that.
good that you're going around and you're getting interviews with all these people that are practicing in different areas of the marine environment. I think that's commendable. Good on you, mate.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Goodbye.